Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Stuff and Things Podcast. I am Sam, joining me today to discuss one of my favourite things in all of entertainment, Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi series from Disney Plus, is my partner in crime. It's Stefan.
Hello there. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate, and you?
I am good, sir. I am good. I am excited. We finally have more Star Wars content to talk about.
We do. We certainly do.
I mean, this is the one we've been waiting for. Let's be honest. We've been waiting for this since, well, it feels like forever.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when it was announced. I can't remember the exact time it was announced, but
if you had turned around and gone like 3:15 in the afternoon on this date, I would have been both proud and embarrassed.
Yeah, good. I can't do that, but I kind of have a timeline in my head now. I don't know about anybody else listening, but it's kind of like pre-pandemic. It's like anything that happened pre-pandemic feels like it was an age ago. So if something was announced pre-pandemic, although technically 2, maybe 3 years ago, in my head it was a lifetime ago.
That was back in the good old days now.
Yeah, since then I've seen some stuff, man. I've seen some stuff. I've seen just normal people fighting over bog roll, man. It's really messed up.
People drinking vodka because alcohol and hand sanitizer, and it was crazy times.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, good fun, wholesome times. It was announced some time ago, and Ewan McGregor was going to reprise the role. And over time, that kind of story evolved. You know, Hayden Christensen joined the cast, which made everyone raise an eyebrow and go, oh, wow, okay. Just so much stuff. The one thing that's been nagging at me with the show ever since it was announced and started being produced was it's being made by Kathleen Kennedy. Nothing against her at all. One of the best producers in Hollywood and the head of Lucasfilm. But when you look at the sequels that she oversaw compared to the other Star Wars content, I was concerned because the sequels, for me, script-wise, there's a lot at fault there. So I was nervous. And when you look at the TV property that's been produced by Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, I was worried. I was worried what was going to happen with this character. I was concerned. And so I've kind of, but so excited as well, you know, like so crazy hyped to watch it, that when I sat down to watch episode 1 a few days ago, I just kind of sat there and I was like, oh, here we go. You know, don't build this up too much, Sam. You're going to be fine. It's, you know, no matter what happens, by the end of this show, you know, the sun's still going to be up. You know, it's not the end of the world if you don't enjoy it. And I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, like
every moment.
Oh yeah, like I have no comments to make about previous Star Wars entities by said person. Yep. But I was very excited. I think thanks to the way the TV shows have been done with The Mandalorian, with the Book of Boba, Book of Boba.
Boba Fett. His name is Boba Fett.
I know, but I know how much it annoys you when I say Boba, and that's all I can think of now is Boba. But yeah, how great those shows I found them to be. I had no worries about this at all, which I then realised I started watching it going, that was really brave. Like, I was just coming in with pure enthusiasm and pure like, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan again. This is going to just be amazing. And I really could have set myself up for such an epic fall.
I mean, luckily, we all can.
Luckily, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of... I was trying to say to someone, there's that scene from Rogue One where the planet's being blown up with the Death Star test and the evil guy goes, oh, it's quite beautiful, like that. I clipped that and basically sort of threw it on our TikTok account as like Star Wars fans waking up watching Obi-Wan Kenobi this morning, because it kind of had the opening episodes is basically an hour long, 50 odd minutes anyway, and
Yeah.
it kind of gives us everything that was foretold in the trailer, and in episode 2 as well. So we're kind of outside of. We have these 2 episodes which we're going to go into, but we're now outside of the trailer territory, if this makes sense. It's kind of like from 3, 4, 5, and 6. We've not seen it. We don't know. So it's a fun thing from that point of view as well. But I just felt like the whole thing was a massive I love you to Star Wars fans, and I'm here for that.
There was so many. So, bit of context itself. See, we got it out over here at like 8 a.m. or something. It came out UK time.
Yeah.
And this, I will be honest, this is the first thing to hit Disney Plus where I have woken up in the morning and gone, I'm going downstairs and I am watching that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not happening. Like, we've done a lot of shows on Disney Plus with the Marvel, the Star Wars, all that sort of thing. And it's always a case of, comes out, I'll watch it in the evening, it's fine, don't worry. This was like, no, I'm up. The kids started half term that week, like that day. I was like, kids, you're going to play in your rooms this morning because I have the TV.
I have stuff to do, yeah.
This is work for me, okay? I have to do this, it's fine. and I'm watching it, and I was an episode behind. You watched episode 1. You just finished episode 1 as I started episode 1.
Yeah,
because I had to do breakfast.
Yeah.
Apparently, you have to feed them water children and stuff. I don't know. I had to do them breakfast and stuff. So so I was like an episode behind you.
Yeah.
And the whole way through, I'm just texting you like, dude.
Yeah.
Mate, this is amazing. I know you've seen it. I can text you this. This is amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was just because you sort of went from scene to scene, and even the stuff that had the sort of harder hitting bits, you're still kind of smiling because you're getting to see it. You've kind of created these head canons in your head over the year, the kind of the links between the films, the stories, and now you're getting to actually see what it was, and you're kind of like, oh, this is what I thought it would be, and then there's some bits you're like, oh, that isn't what I thought it would be. But
like
unlike
Uncle Owen dying in the when Uncle Owen dies in A New Hope, you're like, oh my god, he's lost his aunt and uncle, and then in this you're like, Owen's a bit of an arse.
I don't know. I like Uncle Owen. I think what he said to Ben, in air quotes, was awesome. I really enjoyed it.
There's a lot of very savage lines in this.
So let's dive in then. We're gonna break the podcast into 2 parts, part 1 and part 2 for the 2 episodes, which are titled.
Now these are people who watch and listen to our podcast stuff, and they clearly love me. We have part 1 and part 2.
I knew you'd be pleased. Yeah.
What legends! This is what TV has been missing.
Do you know, when you're looking at like TV shows, stuff like that, and these people, can you name the episodes? Oh yeah, certainly. Do you think with this they're just like part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6? Oh, do you not want to name them? No one's gonna care. No, Obi-Wan Kenobi part 1, part 2, part 3. That's it. That's it. Send text. We're good. Yeah. So Obi-Wan Kenobi part 1. We open with a recap. The recap lasts about 4.5 minutes, and it is basically 4.5 minutes of my childhood, and just looking at the footage from the films, the prequel films and stuff like that. Yeah. I watched that and just sat there a little bit like, oh wow. As a massive Star Wars fan, I knew all of that, but just having that little montage clip of bringing us into where we are now, and then of course that goes straight into a scene of Order 66.
I didn't expect that.
No, you see, the thing about Order 66 is it's kind of like a love-hate relationship, because you love it because it's like such an iconic, massive thing. And over the years, as they've added and added and added layers and layers and layers, you get to see more and more angles of Order 66, more and more stories from it, and you see more and more of it. And it's just, the hate aspect is literally the, the dark side winning at that moment. The Jedi being exterminated, and it is brutal. But we get this scene with a Jedi basically training some younglings.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh no, not the younglings!"
Yeah, you just run.
This show is starting dark. Okay,
run, Forrest, run. But yeah, as you say, we're starting dark. The doors fly open. Clone troopers are just shooting every Jedi they can. The Jedi apprentice who was training the younglings, protects them as best she can until eventually just the sheer weight of numbers overcomes. We see the Jedi die, and the younglings are like, "What do we do now?" And one of them goes, "We run."
That was about the only option they were going to have at that point. Yep. Yeah, just run.
Yep, absolutely you do. Absolutely get out of there. So we see those younglings. We basically get to see that, and then we get a 10 years later.
So I must admit, during the Order 66 part, my eyes were peeled for a little Grogu. I was like, "Go on, show us something." Nah, I didn't see it.
What did you think? Just in the background, you just see like Grogu just like hot stepping.
Literally, I was just expecting.
Burn it up.
I was just like, I wonder, will they do it? Will they just put this little pair of ears like in someone's backpack or something running away?
Yeah. Bottom left corner of the screen, right down there. If you zoom right in, you can see Mace Windu with one arm.
Exactly.
very badly scarred with little Grogu on his back escaping the temple.
See, you're on my way, mate.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. I'm such a fool for not noticing it before, to be honest with you.
No, I didn't see it either. I proper looked for it.
I mean, that's great. I do think in the overall context of the show, that scene could easily feel just like a here's the backstory. Here's where we're at. Here's a scene from Order 66 to remind you all how horrific it was. 10 years later, Here we go, and here comes the story. I actually think the Order 66 scene has a bigger purpose than that. I believe that we actually see there, in amongst the younglings, a very, very young Reva.
Oh, okay.
And I think that is going to evolve. I think that's what we've seen. But that's just throwing that out there. Now, Reva is a character we get introduced to fairly early, and we meet a group called the Inquisitors. Now, I know I have kind of grabbed you into watching the animated Clone Wars Rebels shows.
Yeah.
Have you seen much about the Inquisitors in those?
Not masses. I've seen a little bit of them, but not a huge. I know they are kind of like fallen Jedi who now go and hunt the other Jedi.
Well,
turned Jedis. Yeah.
In essence, you'd kind of class them as like people who are Force sensitive. So some of them could have been literally younglings who were captured and then brainwashed. There's a lot of kind of Force wielders rather than Sith, rather than Jedi.
Yeah.
A good analogy really is if you think of like the secret police from the Nazis and others like that, KGB, the Gestapo. The Inquisitors are quite literally that. They are hunting the Jedi Knights down. One of the things for a lot of people to remember is the line from Obi-Wan Kenobi in, I think, episode 5, when he's talking about Darth Vader. He says, he hunted and killed all of the Jedi. It's always been a kind of thing to me where it's like, well, there's like thousands of Jedi. Did Vader not do anything else? His diary literally like hunt Jedi, hunt Jedi, hunt Jedi, hunt Jedi, lunch. Hunt Jedi, hunt Jedi, hunt Jedi, hunt Jedi, dinner.
That is it, yeah.
That would have been his life. But no, there was this group that basically reported to Vader. They were his secret police, if you like, called the Inquisitors, and they did quite literally fly around and kill Jedi, hunt them.
They did,
and we get a scene where they land on Tatooine, which is always an interesting place for Star Wars. There's so much stuff starts there, and it's such a dump.
I know, right? It's not a place you'd want to go get real estate. Let's put it that way.
No, not at all, and not even. I mean, maybe a holiday because of the sun, so you definitely get a tan. But yeah, so we start there. I mean, there's like a small bar, and the Grand Inquisitor and Riva, as I've mentioned, and others get off
Yeah.
their ship, walk around, and we get the kind of lines that we've heard in the trailer, but were kind of dubbed in over other scenes,
Yes.
which I always like. I always like that you kind of have a trailer and you're never quite sure, okay, is he saying that at this moment? Is he saying it in voiceover?
Yeah, who is he saying it to? Yeah.
You know, the key to hunting Jedi is they hunt themselves. You know, their compassion is their undoing.
Yeah.
Um,
And it is.
what's your thoughts on the idea of the narrative that's being pushed by the Empire and the Inquisitors that Jedi are evil? They're bad. They are, because you see it several times in this episode. You've got situations where they are basically calling them out in public assembly. You know, they've abandoned you. They never loved you. They never cared about you. We are here to get rid of them. The vermin, they are the problem. They are the issue, which is, again, if we're going to go really deep on this, it's very, you know, again, Nazi, anti-Jew propaganda level. It's really quite dark if you go there.
Yeah, like when they get everyone out, even like in the saloon place itself. Saloon, very different places.
Very
different places. But even then, like they call them out, you know, they'll say they'll protect you, they'll say they'll do this, and it will just trick you into hiding them and putting yourself at danger instead. It's kind of like, yeah, look at these Jedi. They'll make you think that you're protected, but actually they've put you in danger instead of themselves.
Yeah.
And it's kind of really driven that way. It's kind of, you know.
And it is, and you could imagine, because a lot of people have asked this question, and I think it's perfectly fair, that how is it that when the Jedi had stood for peace in the Republic for 1,000 odd years, how is it that by the time Rey in Episode 7 is, you know, a young woman 20 years old, the Jedi are like a myth? It's like they're kind of, they weren't real. You know, in relative terms, that's still like 100 odd years. It's not it's not massive amount of time to have passed by for things to have just become a complete myth. But I think what we're seeing here is actually the Empire did that.
Yeah, I'd say it's got to be a lot less than 100 years. You think Han Solo's still around in the first one. But yeah, it's literally a case of the Empire kind of brainwashed everyone into that wasn't a real thing. Like they thought they were what they were, but they weren't really a thing.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like they made it so it felt like a myth. They made it so it felt like it was some kind of story that was made up, and no one ever really did that. You know, oh, you've heard all these deeds of Jedi? No. Like Mando, like, okay, you want me to take this child to a group of what was it? Enemy sorcerers?
That's it, yeah. And you think, like, that was... And again, Luke Skywalker is still very young when we see him appear in Mando and stuff. So therefore, that could only have been a few years later.
Yeah. So, relatively, it is not a passage of time. So this is why people, I think, have always questioned. People have always been like, you know, that not enough time's passed for it to have completely left consciousness, surely. But now we're actually seeing why. It's because people are actually scared. You know, you've got these Inquisitors, and if you imagine you're in a marketplace and you're just talking, it's like, oh, do you remember when the Jedi used to do this? Oh, yeah, that was great. Then an Inquisitor comes up and, like, chops someone's hand off.
Yeah, I heard the word Jedi. No.
Yeah, and that's it. And you're going to be like, okay, I'm never mentioning that ever again. You know, would you pass on the stories to your kids for fear that the kids could... You know, and also the Republic used to work in a way where someone could be force sensitive anywhere. Could you imagine the terror of your child perhaps showing those abilities in an age where they would be hunted?
Yeah. Oh, did you just move that with your mind? I did. Never do that again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, and that's...
Never do that again. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's some kid somewhere who's like, why do I keep bringing you biscuits? I don't know, but bring me more biscuits. Okay, I'll bring you more biscuits. Yeah. Seriously, I wanted to have the Force so bad when I was a kid, man.
I used to just sit there looking at the remote control. But, God, no.
Come on. Could you... All genuine question now, right?
Yeah.
The Force abilities that are kind of standard, being able to move objects in your mind, lift rocks, so to speak, and the ability to use that kind of mind trickery.
Yep.
I'd love to say to you...
used for good.
No, yeah, that's exactly right. I'd love to say to you that I would be such a hero. I think I'd just be an ass.
I would be such a... You will let me have front row tickets to your concert.
Yeah, I just...
Backstage passes, you will be.
Yeah, I'd just be awful.
Oh, I'd be a dick. Yeah.
Just so bad. And like, to the point now where I'm kind of looking at it going, I am so glad I don't live in a universe where that's possible. Yeah. Because there's no way I'd be on the side of good.
And if all else fails, I'd have some really good magnets,
Ah, yes, boom. So we do get this scene with the Inquisitor. We do get this kind of very visceral hunting a Jedi, and we do actually see there's a Jedi there.
Yeah.
So there's two parts of the scene I want to go into detail with you. The first thing is we do just meet a random Jedi.
Yep.
The random Jedi, it is his compassion that reveals him.
So the Inquisitors were spot on. They will hunt themselves.
Yeah, and the guy runs and just about gets away. The reason why he gets away, though, there is a very immediate, obvious tension between the Grand Inquisitor and Reva.
Yeah.
One of the big things about Star Wars for me when I was a kid was Darth Vader was terrifying.
Yep.
That guy came on the screen, and it was like the oxygen got sucked out of the room. It was big, menacing Darth Vader, the bad guy.
Yep.
Because of the arc for the character in those series, and then when you watch the prequels and you realise just how manipulated, anytime I see Darth Vader now, I feel just kind of sad. Just kind of like, oh, poor Anakin.
Yeah, he's kind of lost that. I mean, there's still a fear factor there because of what he does.
Massively.
You're no longer kind of like, oh my God, he's doing this bad stuff. You're kind of thinking to yourself, oh, Annie.
Yeah, poor Anakin, you got messed up, kid. I wish, I wish someone could have got to you sooner. However, one of the things that in Rogue One they gave us was the full-bore, badass, I am straight up going to murder a corridor full of people, Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And when you looked at that, I didn't have that kind of, oh, poor Anakin moment. I had that kind of, please no one judge me when I say this, oh my God, Vader's a badass.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, yay. Oh no, bad. Oh, but yay. He's straight up, look at him, throw that guy. Oh, snap that other one in half.
Yeah.
It was cool.
That was proper Vader being a bad guy. Yeah,
that was
proper villain.
So I think as people who watch TV, watch the genre, we can look at villainous characters, bad guy, and quite enjoy them. Kind of like look at them and go, they are so bad. This person is bad. Reva, right away, when you have someone who is the Grand Inquisitor, who is out there hunting the Jedi, he is the one planting the narrative. He wants people to be afraid of them. He wants people to tell stories of, oh no, don't talk about the Jedi, don't hide the Jedi, don't get anywhere near them, because the Grand Inquisitor, will be in trouble.
Yeah.
Reva wants to cut through everybody to kill the Jedi. She is just no chill.
Yeah.
The guy tries to escape, and she literally tries to cut him down with a saber, and is stopped by the Grand Inquisitor. And the tension between them, and straight away, they're on Tatooine as well, which makes it even funnier. You find out that she has been hunting Kenobi, or they, as the Inquisitors, have been hunting Kenobi for 10 years. And they've given up.
Yeah.
But she doesn't
She
want to
has
give
not
up.
given up. She has got a serious hatred there for a reason.
So, let's look at my theory for a moment and say she was one of the younglings at the temple, okay?
Yep.
What possible reason could she have to hate Kenobi that much?
I can only think of her if feels let down by them or something, meaning she was possibly one of the younglings, Order 66 got taken away and made to be like the Grand Inquisitors are. So is that a feeling of being let down by Obi-Wan, who was meant to be...
like looking for revenge for being failed? I think when I watched part 1, absolutely with you. Absolutely kind of... But there's something that comes up in part 2 that I'm going to offer a different theory to you when we get there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, okay. So at this point, definitely with you on that. I think it's kind of like she is just pissed. Just anger personified. Working our way through this. The first scene we actually get to see Kenobi then. Is that like a beach whale? Do you know what that is?
So, yeah, when they're cutting up all the meat and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay, it's a weird kind of like meat factory sort of thing. I mean, a meat factory, let's be honest, out in the absolute middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, I say beached whale, but then they're on a desert planet, so I'm very confused by what it could be. Be.
I mean, we've seen these kind of crazy creatures swim through the sand basically on Tatooine, but there's this other thing, and I watched the animated show Rebels, but I didn't watch it in a kind of really intense way like I watched the Clone Wars.
Gotcha.
The animation style was slightly different, and for whatever reason I just couldn't get into it. I watched some key episodes that people told me I needed to watch, but I just couldn't get as into it. Which I know is stupid, but it's one of those things I just couldn't like manga stuff. That animation style I just can't get into. I know people love it and swear by it, but it's just not for me.
No, fair enough. I mean, I've had the same. Like, there's programs I've watched, and it's like, again, animation shows like that, and I'm like, nah, it just doesn't quite.
No,
I don't know if it's a case of it just doesn't. I don't know. For me, I think a cartoon is a cartoon for me. So there's certain styles I watch, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah. So one of the things in it, though, right at the very end, were these creatures that were basically like space whales. And so when I saw this, I did think to myself, I wonder if that's one that's like died
it's
and
a
slammed
space
in.
whale.
Yeah, and like slammed into Tatooine, and there's this guy like, yay, free meat. I don't know. It just. But anyone watching who does have an answer for that, do get in touch, because I did just keep looking at it thinking this is weird. But yeah, Obi-Wan's working a job, working 9 to 5 on Tatooine.
What a way to make it.
I don't know. Nice.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years.
Yep.
How's your emotion? This is the first time you've seen him. And you walk me through, you see him working there, you see him on that, like, bus, for want of a better word, back to, I'm guessing, either Anchorhead, or it's, potentially, I don't think it's Mos Eisley, I think it must be Anchorhead.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said it was Mos Eisley. Looking at kind of the way we see it from a distance and stuff like that, I wouldn't have said it was there.
Yeah. I mean, it could be Moss anything, but we're seeing him again, so I had this kind of like, oh, there he is. But then I was just, at the same time, I was like, this is actually kind of really sad.
It was really sad. Like, I half expected him to kind of get off the bus and go hit a bar.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, Obi, you have fallen, my friend. Like, and then you kind of realise, yeah, he spent 10 years in hiding.
Yeah, 10 years of not just hiding, but 10 years of thinking about, in isolation, everything that happened, and
and as we see himself from like his nightmares and stuff like that he's having, it is literally 10 years of blaming himself.
So I've written down here, there's two scenes here. One about the nightmares, but I'm going to let you run with this. How much fun was the scene with the Jawa?
Oh man, yeah. It was the, if you're going to steal my parts and sell them back to me, at least have the courtesy to clean them first. I loved it. No. But it's something really strange, because Jawas have always been around in Star Wars. We've always seen, they've always been these like annoying little side creature, like scammers. And then all of a sudden, in the last 2 shows, Jawas now have like personalities and
And yeah, personalities, we're getting to understand them. You know?
Furry, really.
Apparently they're very
Yeah.
Don't do that. Yeah,
But-
apparently dating them is not a thing.
Not a thing, but it's like this guy. So this is obviously like almost a friend of Ben's. Knows him well enough that he keeps going around to give him parts. He gives him the toy that we see Luke playing with in A New Hope.
Yeah,
That was a cool little nod.
I thought so. Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, he's been breaking stuff of his whilst Ben's not there, just to sell the parts back to him, which I thought was just absolute. Can you imagine, like, that's like your friend walking out your house with like your favourite beer glass and going, "Mate, found this new beer glass. Heard you lost yours. Do you want it for a fiver?"
Yeah, smack.
But yeah, and all of a sudden, like, you know, they're getting these personalities, and I loved it.
What did you think about? Because I think I've written down that Ben has PTSD dreams. He has PTSD. What did you think? Because the Jawa offered him this belt that he took from a Jedi ship, and it was a belt with obviously a lightsaber kind of hook and everything on it. But Ben was just, you know, I'm calling him Ben at this point as well. By the way, just kind of looking at it, looking at it like, oh, that's interesting. Completely straight faced, no kind of.
Yeah, what Jedi's doing here? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
In his head, he's like, crap.
Yeah, screaming. But I think just hearing the word Jedi, seeing the belt, he has these kind of nightmares, and he sits up. But the moment when he sat up, Master Qui-Gon, I was just like, hairs on my arm stood up. I was there waiting. And nothing.
The Force. Yeah, I was waiting for the Force ghost. I was like, oh, no.
Well, I'm really... See,
but there's two or three times in these first couple of episodes, he says stuff like it, and I'm like, they've got to be teasing it. Surely they're teasing this.
Yeah. I think so. I think so. I do think as well, I do really think we're going to get some flashbacks, either in the form of his nightmares, or something. I mean, we've had the one flashback already of Order 66. Obviously the recaps via his nightmare and the intro recap.
Yeah.
I do think we're going to see some other bits and pieces. We see him go through his day again, and we see him, like you say, he gets that ship and he rides out to leave it for Luke, because we've seen him basically keeping an eye on Luke from a distance. Owen's the farmer, he's doing stuff, and Luke's like supposed to be helping, but then we see like in just one scene, like a really great kind of representation of Luke not being a farmer. Like, you know, he runs away, hides, and then jumps up. In that PTSD dream, did you notice he kept seeing Anakin flying the pod race?
Yes.
And then he's seeing Luke up,
sitting there pretending to do a pod race. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so wow, this is why he's having these kind of anxiety PTSD dreams. He's obviously going up there a lot and keeping an eye on him and just watching him become
Anakin,
look like a young Anakin. Yeah,
and that's got to be a worry for him.
Well, it's gonna freak you out, and it's gonna, you know, because he knew Anakin from that age. I mean, Luke's 10.
Yeah,
so he knew him from that age and grew up with him.
Yeah.
That's gotta be messing with him. But Owen returns the toy and tells him in no uncertain terms to leave them alone. Ben uses the line is quite interesting. You know, you just want to know if he's showing, Owen says. Now, I'm guessing that means showing Force abilities.
Yeah.
And we get the line from the trailer, which all of us just went, oh, emotional damage.
Yeah, oh, what? Like you trained Anakin. I was like, oh, dude, don't do that.
Like you trained. So, what happens in this scene as well, which I think is really important from the overall story, is like you trained his father is the line. And we all had that in the trailer, and all of us went, oh, like gut punch. But then he says, Anakin's dead. I'm not going to let you do that. So, this is the interesting thing to me, is the line is clearly to everybody in the galaxy, to his family, to everyone. Anakin's dead. And we've always assumed up to this show that I've always assumed, I should say, up to this show that Obi-Wan knew via legend, via the fact that he heard of Vader out there murdering people for the last decade, that he knew that he was actually still alive, and he made a choice to tell people that Anakin was dead.
Yeah.
But it would appear that, no, he genuinely believes.
Everyone seems to believe that Anakin actually did die. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means that as far as Ben is aware, he left Anakin to die.
Yeah.
In fire, burning away. Yeah.
I doubt he knows the details, but...
No, he was already burning when he walked away, wasn't he? He was really lying there burning, walking away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that must be seriously weighing heavy, especially when, like you say, he's watching this young Luke Skywalker turning into the young Anakin that he met.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow.
Yeah, and obviously Owen's not helping with that. Like
No.
You want to train him like you trained his father. You know, it's like, oh yeah, fair point.
Yeah.
So Owen sets the stall out here early. Owen wants to keep him on the farm. Owen wants to keep him safe. I want to throw this out there. When I was younger, I always thought of Uncle Owen as a bit of an ass that got in the way, Luke becoming the hero, you know? It was always kind of like, shut off.
Yeah.
I think now as an older person, I'm now looking at him and going, he just wanted him to stay alive. You know, just don't go off. Don't go and become...
Yeah, we didn't see in A New Hope all this stuff with the Inquisitors and things like that. We literally just saw a grumpy old man that was like, no, you are not leaving the farm. Grumpy old man,
yeah.
You're not
drinking
leaving the farm.
Blue milk.
Exactly. You're never leaving the farm. Yeah. You work here. You stay here. It's safe. And we all went, oh, how bloody boring. God. And now we're seeing... Well, we've already seen what happened to the last person that Ben trained. We're seeing the Inquisitors out there, that anyone that shows any sort of Force sensitivity, you're in trouble.
Oh yeah, big time.
And all of a sudden you go, no, Ben was kind of looking out for him from a distance, but Owen was the one that was kind of there every day, like making sure that Luke was alive.
Literally bringing him up. I mean, as his son, you know, from a baby.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a love, that's a bond. That's not just he's taking in an orphan. He loves him like he's his own. Yeah. And yeah, it's it's incredibly different to look at it now through adult eyes, I think.
Yeah, and it still
we do have a scene here which...
Oh.
No, go on, man.
It's like one of those ones. So in Star Wars New Hope, when Owen and Aunt Beru die, I always said there never seemed to be like this big emotional scene. It was like, oh no, they're dead. Right, let's off we go. And even more so now that we're watching kind of Luke growing up and how much Owen was trying to just protect him the whole time. Man, they are two character deaths that were seriously underwritten.
Yeah. Well, that's it's part of the beauty of creating the larger story. I think is now when you watch those films, it has more of an impact. Really, up to that point, it was a woman you didn't know combined with a grumpy old git who didn't want our hero to be a hero. And now you watch it now, and it's like, no, they loved him. They wanted him safe.
Yeah, they were just trying to protect him.
And they were straight up murdered. Now, one of the interesting things is we then get this scene with the Inquisitors in the streets. And again, we see the difference between just a standard Inquisitor and how he's conducting himself, and Reva.
Yeah.
Who cuts off a person's hand for questioning their authority. Yeah. Says she'll do it to everybody who speaks up. And then she locks eyes with Owen.
Yeah, that moment I was like, oh no.
Yeah, so there's two parts of this which I find fascinating just to begin with. One, she's walking around in amongst all of those people, and we know the Jedi could sense people, could sense fear, could sense feelings. And she locks on him and goes, you know something. Because she can obviously sense that they're hunting Jedi, and Obi-Wan stood just like right there. Owen has just been talking to him. Owen could literally go, yeah, I know where there's a Jedi.
That guy.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. So she locks on him, and I'm sort of sat there and watching it, I'm thinking, the second part is, I know he's okay, because I know I've seen him in A New Hope. So I know she's not going to kill him, so I know he's safe, but that doesn't mean she's not going to just, like, start slaughtering everyone around. Like, is Owen going to throw Ben under the bus? You know, is he going to give him a head start? I did, even though I knew he was going to be fine, I did feel the tension in the scene. And I think that's got to be an applause to them, really, that they managed to do that, even though we knew he'd be all right.
Yeah, we knew he'd be fine because we were only like half hour into the very first episode. Yeah, and you know everything's going to be fine, but at the same time you're there kind of going, Owen, don't say anything. And at the same time you're like, Owen, you're going to have to say something, otherwise you're in trouble.
Yeah, you're going to have to say something because otherwise she's going to straight up murder people. In the end, it's the other Inquisitor that kind of dials her back. Yeah,
so it feels like a bit of a power struggle between the Grand Inquisitor and Reva.
Well,
yeah,
and one of the other things I find quite interesting in it as well is she's doing these things. So far, she's been absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
You know, everything she's done. When she threw the knife at that guy, it revealed the Jedi they were hunting.
Yep.
When she walked through the crowd and could sense someone was hiding potential news about a Jedi, she was right. He was
straight to Owen. Yeah.
Yeah. So, although she is absolutely undeniably the real baddie in this, at the same time you're kind of looking at it going, yeah. The other Inquisitors are, because I think there's a line even when she says something about, you go too far, and she says, I don't think we're going far enough.
Yeah.
And to be honest, she's being proven right, because the Inquisitors literally walked away from a guy who could have pointed them to Kenobi. Because I got no doubt in my mind, if they'd gone, right, we're now going to drag you to your farm and murder your family in front of you unless you tell us, he'd have looked straight over at Ben.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it was a case of looking at Ben as if to go, come on, how are you going to help me out here, buddy? Come on.
Yeah, but well, I mean, I personally think if they'd threatened Luke again in a real way, I think Ben would have come out. I don't think for 1 second he'd have just hid there with Luke under threat, because that's literally his mission.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have stood for
as
that.
we find kind of later on in the episodes as well, that is literally the one purpose he has, is keeping an eye on Luke. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the only thing that's keeping him semi-sane, I'd say.
Yeah.
What's interesting is when the Inquisitors leave, Owen obviously doesn't sell him out, and Ben thanks him and he says, I didn't do it for you.
Yeah.
I'm curious, who did he do it for then? Because, if he'd gone, if he'd literally gone, there's a Jedi, they'd killed him, and he'd gone home to Luke. Luke's never met Ben. He doesn't know Obi-Wan. He doesn't know anything about any of this.
No.
So he didn't do it for Luke.
Yeah.
Or did he?
Yeah.
What do you think? Who did he do it for?
Did
he do it for the memory of Anakin?
Yeah, no, this was a question that I had, because it was one of those things of, right, okay, I didn't do it for you, but Luke doesn't know who Kenobi is.
And he also don't want him anywhere near him. Is it a case of he don't want him anywhere near him, he doesn't want him to train him, he doesn't want him to put ideas in his head, but at the same time perhaps having a Jedi lingering around the farm to protect the kid isn't a bad thing?
Potentially, I mean, yeah, there's not a bad thing to have a Jedi as your bodyguard almost, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, as terms of who did he do it for then? You'd have to say the sentence, it must have been he did it for Luke's protection, but
yeah,
Luke wouldn't have known any different.
No, and it did go through my mind, because I think you could also look at it from a point of view of Anakin was his half brother, I think, or brother-in-law, stepbrother, I think. So it could have been the memory of that. I mean, I don't know. It depends on what kind of affection he held Anakin in. It depends on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is the official link there then? Because obviously it's Uncle Ben. So one of them.
Yeah.
Either
so basically,
Beru or Owen, one of them is linked to him.
Yeah, so basically, his father, Lars, had Shmi as a slave, freed her, and married her. Right. So via marriage, Anakin and Owen are brothers, which I believe means they are stepbrothers.
Gotcha.
So he is, in essence, his step-nephew. But, I mean, I've said this on the podcast on different shows, and me me and you are both from families that are what as modern parlance is blended. So you've got step this, half that, all over the place. And I've always just been, that's my brother, that's my sister. You know, so I think in this it's a similar situation. I think Owen thought of Anakin as his brother through marriage. Remember, he returned to Tatooine to find his mother that time, and there was probably greater scenes that you just don't see in the film.
Yeah.
Of the two of them being like, "Hey, bro, can you move stuff with your mind? That's so cool," you know. So, and also then he's brought, you know, Anakin has been killed. This is his son. Please look after him. You're gonna have that affection. You're gonna, because I doubt Ben brought into him and said, here's his son. We need to hide him from the Emperor. We need to do this. He probably brought it to him and said, oh, Anakin's been killed. This is his son. He wanted you to raise him. Probably would have been the line. And that, you know, but we got to keep him hidden because he used to be a Jedi. Because you are not going to sit down with them and tell them the whole damn thing, are you?
Yeah, no, that's very true.
So yeah. So there we go.
Yeah, there's an interesting link there somewhere, but we are seeing it. I think that's what I'm enjoying, the fact we are just seeing it from this completely different angle now. This is an angle we've never seen before.
We do. One of the things we do see as well is when Ben delivers that fighter jet, it's a scene before the one we just had. The Jedi who ran away in the town approaches him in the desert. Yeah.
And Ben is very much a case of go away. I don't know you. Go away.
Yeah. I find that scene a little bit tough. Tough because Obi-Wan is such a hero. He was a general in the Clone Wars. He was a Jedi Master. He made it to the Council. Anakin didn't.
Yeah.
But all of these things that would have made... If you were a young Jedi... And, you know, Obi-Wan Kenobi would have been like, oh, he's one of the best. You know, he's the one.
He's the equivalent of a young child growing up with, like, the Messis and Ronaldos in football. You know, that would have been like an idol. You're not going to just forget who he is or what he looks like. So when he bumps into him in the desert, that is because he has tracked him down and he knows exactly who he is.
And he's basically come to him as a kind of... We need to keep fighting. What are we going to do? You know, we're together now. We're two Jedi Knights. We're the baddest mother in the galaxy. What are we going to do, Master? And he's like, yeah, sorry, my name's Ben. Don't know who you are, kid. It was kind of heartbreaking because it even says to him, it's like, what happened to you? Who are you?
Yeah, what happened? You're not
who I thought you were.
Yeah. And that was tough. Like, that was real tough because we all know what Ben was or Obi-Wan was.
Yeah.
And to then have to kind of watch him literally send someone who has come to him to save his life, send him away because, no, just go bury that Jedi stuff in the desert. Don't look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, and just walk away. Which, you know, was Frankie foreshadow for exactly what he did. I find that a little bit tough. And then, of course, we later see that young Jedi does get caught and they string him up, literally.
Yep.
In the town. And again, it's like they do that and it just invites terror. Did you seen the movie Jojo Rabbit?
No. I need to see it. I need to see it. It was on my list of films to watch.
Wow, okay. For one, absolutely you need to see it. The reason why I brought it up is because they depict something that the Nazis did in there. Was when the Nazi Third Reich was falling all over Europe, rather than retreating back on their ideology, they doubled down. And so basically the Gestapo and secret police were rounding up anybody they thought were possibly not 100% Nazi and just hanging them in the street.
Yeah.
And putting signs on them, traitors, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was done as a warning, as a kind of terror to everybody. You stay on side. You are not abandoning the war effort. And people, you know, people become disillusioned. They knew they were in the wrong. They knew they were getting their asses kicked. But you so much as spoke out a line and you would get hung. So when I saw this guy just strung up in the town for everybody to see, it was just a massive warning. Just a massive, this is what happens to them. Jedi scum, you do not get involved. You do not, and forget forget them, sort of thing. You can understand why people suddenly just wanted to bury their heads. They didn't want to think about it.
Yeah, if it wasn't scary enough already, you're now literally seeing them strung up in the streets of, go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, be a Jedi, see what happens. Yeah. Scary times, very scary times in the galaxy.
It is, massively.
And again, it kind of explains actually why Ben was so like, no, go and hide, because he didn't want to see what would happen. He didn't want to see this young lad get killed.
No, and also we don't know in the 10 years how many other Jedi he's seen. How many other Jedi has he run into on this planet that have then been killed? We got no idea.
Ben Kenobi building up a body count by pure mistake. Yeah.
He also doesn't want them there and the Inquisitors there because of Luke.
100%. Yeah, get him off the planet.
He doesn't. Yeah, the last thing he wants, like with Owen, is one of these Inquisitors rocking up at that farm and going, "The Force is very strong with that boy." What's his name?
No Force here.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, Lukey Lukerson. My name is Luke Skywalker. Interesting.
Yeah, I know that name. No, you don't.
Yeah, I still can't get over they never changed the name. That's still
right
up there for me.
It is the worst thing I think. Out of everything Star Wars, that was the one thing that almost made me go, wait a minute. Like, Leia took the adopted family's name, but it was never
Organa,
Luke Lars. Nope.
No. I don't get that. I don't understand it. How
we
did that
Anakin may have had children.
Yeah. Well, there's this guy on Tatooine called Luke Skywalker. Looks a bit like him as a kid. Interesting.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah.
I don't. I really hope it gets addressed in this show, and no matter what they do, I don't think I'm going to buy it. But I really hope they say something like at the end of the show, he is Luke Lars, and perhaps at the end of the show he says, "No, actually, no, you're Luke Skywalker. Your dad was Anakin Skywalker."
Even if it's just a case,
something
Obi-Wan says about, "Come on, he's a Skywalker," and Owen turns around and goes, "You're the only person that calls him that. Stop it." Yeah. Or just something that makes you go,
something that makes
everyone
you
else
realise,
does call him a Lars. Alright, it's just
Obi-Wan
being Obi-Wan. But yeah, otherwise, Anakin not a very good.
I've taken this child and I've hidden him. Oh, great. Well, what did you give him a different name? No, why would I do that? Oh my god. It's like, you are crap at this, Obi-Wan. But sorry, so the show kind of shifts here, and it shifted in a direction I personally didn't see coming.
Yep.
And I was delighted. I had a massive, massive smile on my face. So we've seen Luke at a distance. We've not interacted with Luke at all, and I kind of thought that was it. I kind of thought the Luke character was just going to be there. Obi-Wan's got something he needs to deal with, and everything is going to happen around Obi-Wan being hunted by the Inquisitors, but we're just going to get occasional shots of Luke being Luke in the distance. Maybe they'll have a little interaction at some point, but that was it. I saw a rumour ages ago where someone said, why would he go off planet? In the trailer, he's clearly gone off world. Why would he do that? The only thing that could possibly compel him would be Leia and something wrong with Leia. And I kept thinking to myself, I don't know. There could be loads of reasons. There could be countless reasons why, Yoda's not doing too well. The guy's like 700 years old. You might want to check in on him.
Exactly.
It kind of felt like there's loads of reasons. But then, sure enough. And I don't know about you, but I'm watching this little girl get dressed up in this stuff, and I'm like, that's going to be Leia.
Yeah.
That's going to be Leia.
Like,
and then,
oh my God. Yeah.
And then it wasn't. It was like this alien girl, and I was like, oh, they cheesed us. Oh, they messed with us. And then she says the line, she assured me you'd find it really fun. I went, oh my God, it is Leia.
And
she's an absolute little git.
Isn't she just? Yeah.
I loved that precocious little sod. I thought as Princess Leia as a child, this is perfect.
I messaged you. She's just the right amount of pain in the arse, adorable, and sass that her character actually develops into in real life. Yeah, like real life, when she grows up in the films, she's still got that kind of real pain in the arse attitude, but enough sass to get away with it. And this kid nails it.
The thing I absolutely love as well is you're looking forward to the grown-up version of the character, we are, and we're thinking this kid's nailed it.
Yeah.
Also, think about her parents, Anakin and Padme.
Oh, God,
Anakin, the pod racing little sod at this age. Padme, who was at this point being groomed for leadership like she is, and was all of those things and more, and also just such a tomboy with everything she did.
Yep.
And you're looking at this, I'm like, wow, climbing trees with the little droid thing. I saw a young Padme and I saw a young Leia, all of it, and I loved it.
It was perfect.
Also, we're getting to see Alderaan, other than when it gets blown up.
Isn't it nice to actually just see trees on Alderaan?
Isn't it nice just to see Alderaan pre-Empire destroying it?
It was one of those things, like, it did genuinely took me a couple of moments just to kind of realise, and I was like, no, wait a minute. This is the planet that we first see get destroyed. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, no one's ever, I know I didn't for a fact, ever think of, I wonder what Alderaan was like. And all of a sudden, it's like, it's beautiful. Wow, we are there.
Yeah, I loved it.
And then you get that little twinge of, you guys will die soon.
and the people have the tear to commemorate it. I loved it. I watched it and I just smiling. The whole arc with Leia being there, and we see a bit of a sinister back of her head when she's running around, and I'm like, oh, I think I've just worked out the plot line.
Yeah.
I think I know why Obi-Wan leaves Tatooine. This is it. And, true enough, Leia's a little sod. She escapes and she gets kidnapped by a group of bounty hunters who have been sent there to take her.
Now, what I didn't expect...
One of them being Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, I didn't expect her to get kidnapped by a rock star.
Back to the Future films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, Needles from Back to the Future. I mean, that cracked me up. What a cameo for him. I mean, that's just like...
Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically him ringing up, can I be in Star Wars, please?
Please.
Yeah, all right, we got something for you. So what was kind of funny in this is I watched this scene, and I've watched this kid running around with these three adults, and I'm just smiling. I'm ear to ear, I'm laughing, I'm kind of like, and they do eventually catch up with her, and obviously she is taken hostage. That's not good. You had an issue with the scene. You're not happy with this. No, you're not happy with this trope at all.
Okay, so this is just a personal thing for me, and it's not against Star Wars, it is against every TV show and film that has ever had a chase scene where adults try and chase a child.
Yeah.
Children are not that damn slippery. Like, it's more the case of, if you are trying to catch a kid, you run.
Yeah.
No adult in a chase scene with a child has ever actually ran. And let's be honest, like little Leia, bless her, she's only small, she's only got little legs, and you can see, like, when she runs, it's a proper, like, kids run. It's not a arms bent at 45 to 90 degree angle and proper powering through the run. It's a sort of run,
Yeah.
And these adults are like, oh no, we just can't catch her. Oh no. I'm like, oh, come on. I've got a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old here. If one of them tries to run, they're not getting more than 4 steps, and I've hoiked her off the ground.
Yeah.
And it's not me going, oh, bad writing, bloody typical. It's just in general, if you're chasing a kid, just frickin' run and you'll catch them.
Yeah.
That was it. I know I did text you, like, for sake. Because there's another scene with Obi-Wan when he's trying to catch her, and she literally runs under his arm, and I'm like, oh, come on, make an effort.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's too fair. I think, one, I was so into the scene that never bothered me, but two, I think I've had very different experiences chasing kids.
It's not something I do that often, I'll be honest with you. It's just my two at home, but I can catch them fairly quick.
No, I've had little sisters who I've been like in charge of, and they are slippery little bastards. They get their little. I think the other thing as well is, I think as an adult, I'm trying not to take them out.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if I'm chasing a guy like similar size or whatever, an adult, I'm gonna tackle them to the ground. I can't do that to a kid. I'd kill them. So I think it's an element of you're trying to catch, but also not maim or hurt.
I caught the kid. Brilliant. Yeah, I broke the leg and the arm. I fell on them, but I caught them.
I had I had a friend of mine who basically, the kid used to go dead weight.
Yeah.
You know, like so basically, you know, like that whole, like, you hold their hand, and if they didn't want to do something, they literally just go dead weight and dangle.
Yeah.
Well, the kid did it once, just as the parent was going, "Come on," you know, like where you pull the arm, like, "Come on," rip the socket, rip the arm right out of the socket. The kid never did it again.
Well, that would stop him. Yeah.
I don't recommend it.
No, definitely not. But it probably worked. Yeah. But no, yeah, that was it.
That
was just that one scene. I was just like, oh, just pick the kid up and go.
So what is interesting is the child is taken, and then we learn that it was Reva who orchestrated it. Reva is hunting Obi-Wan Kenobi, and has done this because believes that the Organas will turn to him, and they do.
Once again,
she again is absolutely spot on, and they do turn to him. They communicate with him, and again, this is a really sad, depressing scene. He's like, "No, you're all right. You send someone else, not me."
Now that really surprised me, because you're like, I understand that he's there to look after Luke, and that was kind of like, he gave the Organas Leia, so therefore she is your responsibility. Luke is mine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they gave Luke to Owen and Beru. So But to have him, I think the upsetting / sad part was the fact that you are watching what was once a great Jedi Knight, and he's just so full of self-doubt and, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, not the man I was 10 years ago.
I've not used the Force in 10 years. I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, but you're Obi-Wan.
Yeah, it's very difficult to see him like this, I think.
Yeah.
From me, and I think that scene again, that scene's the kind of the hero scene, isn't it? It's the kind of like, this has happened, and he goes, "Okay, I'll be right there."
Let me get my
That's
cloak.
what you were expecting. Yeah, you were expecting him to be like having the kind of getting the sabers out, looking at them, spinning them around again, and going, "Bring it," you know?
Yeah.
Like, or just getting a simple
Hello there.
But we got nothing. We got nothing. We got just.
I can't do it.
No. Good luck. I mean, you got an army. I mean, you don't need me. Send the army. Good luck. Bye. What made me laugh is Organa clearly sent him that message, tried to get him to do it, and then thought to himself, "Right, well, I ain't taking that. I'm not having you hang up on me, you ass." So hot foots it across the Tatooine, literally goes straight to his cave and waits for him.
Yeah, when Obi-Wan turns up and the droid's like, there's someone in
someone's in there. And he walks in, and there he is, and they have this kind of confrontation. Not a confrontation nasty, but a confrontation in the sense of Obi-Wan's just like, "No, I'm not that. I can't do it." And Organa's like, "I don't trust anyone else."
Yeah, you can do it, and you will do it.
Yeah. It was the ultimate guilt trip, I think it's safe to say. Like, the absolute ultimate, you will do this for me. You brought this child into my life. I love her, and you will go and get her back for me.
Pretty much,
and because of that, and because of the conviction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of the conviction, Obi-Wan does go to the desert. He does dig up his lightsaber. It's not just one lightsaber he digs up, though, is it?
No, it's not.
It's both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Again, emotional damage. It's like no escaping it for him. It's like, no, there's no way away. And he digs it up, he grabs it, and then that's it. He heads to a transport, and boom, he's...
Off he goes.
End of part 1, he is off. Yeah. So this takes us into part 2.
Yeah, it does.
And part 2 is Ben arriving on this planet, and he's trying to find Leia. And we get a cameo. Timur Morrison cameo. And I do wonder, and I got to put it to you, because obviously Timur Morrison, the clones,
Yep.
do you think we will see more cameos as him as different clones in this show?
Oh, it could be fun. It could be fun. Just because I personally put my hands up. I missed it.
How did you miss it? It's like an important scene.
I know. No, I know. I saw the scene and I saw the guy there asking for the credits and all stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my brain went to, that's an important cameo.
Yeah.
But at the time, I couldn't put my finger on who or why.
Yeah.
It was just like, that's a cameo for a reason.
Yeah.
And then I was straight back into the story. Like, he put some credits in there and he wanders off. And I'm like, okay,
Well,
park that to the side. And then you messaged me and told me about it. And I was like, damn.
If I am right as well, that is a clone trooper now homeless, veteran begging for credits. And I believe, based on the colours of his unit, his uniform, he was part of the 501st, which was Anakin's. Which basically means 501st are the ones that marched into the Jedi Temple, I believe.
Yeah.
So, if that's the case, Obi-Wan's got to be feeling something about that. Also, he was General Kenobi. So, that clone trooper could have recognised him.
Quite.
And I did wonder...
Yeah.
I did wonder, like, I saw a few people say online, and I did love that. The idea of when he put the credits in and walked away, if you just seen the clone mutter, like, thanks, General.
Yeah.
You know, just keeping it to himself. Just I know who you were. Thank you.
That would have been,
I think that would have tied in even more emotion, hit me even harder. But it's also the first depiction of something which is canon, which is how the Empire just got rid of the clones.
Didn't
just
need them
absolutely
anymore.
disregarded them for the stormtroopers, for the recruits. And it also, I think, is something that a lot of people struggled with from the prequels to the sequels of like, what happened to accuracy training between here and there? The clones could, shoot a Jedi past their lightsabers, but a stormtrooper can't hit a friggin' barn door. Well, this is it. They are literally...
Let's be honest, they are awful.
Yeah, they are. But this is the thing that's kind of interesting is there's the scene in episode 4 when Obi-Wan talks about these blast points are far too precise, and we all laugh, like, precise stormtroopers, are you having a laugh? He thinks of the clones. Obi-Wan Kenobi is thinking of the clones he led and how accurate, how well trained, how good they were.
Yeah.
He doesn't realise, I don't think, that the stormtroopers are actually just raw recruits. They're conscripts. They're just people who have been
they are no longer
into the army.
the people that he knew. Yeah.
No, exactly. And so this is a really good, fast visual representation. They've just been discarded. He's there in his uniform, in his gear, his beard all overgrown.
The fact that he's
like
using the helmet as the kind of...
Yeah. It was that was an interesting, quite a throwaway moment, but at the same time, really quite good, I thought.
And like you say, it'll be interesting to see if there's any more cameos from him.
I'd like to think so, because there was this rumour when they were filming the Book of Boba Fett that he went and he did some cameo work. If it was literally for that, I'm still fine with it, but I'd like to think perhaps, because there were a few clones that had their own characters, their own major characteristics, and were in their own right, Rex, Cody, a few of the others. And I'd love it with now, perhaps, to see them again. And of course, Rex, I think it was Rex, Captain Rex, actually had his inhibitor chip removed by Ahsoka Tano, which would mean he's very much Team Jedi. Yeah. So it just be interesting, potentially anyway.
Yeah.
So moving on then, he's looking for Leia. He's asking questions on the streets of this sort of planet. I describe this like whole planet appears to be a bit like Backstreet Vegas. Kind of like the off the strip dirty side. Everyone's gambling, drinking, generally some naughty things going on in all areas. Obi-Wan gets drugs put in his pocket by some little pusher, like, hey, forget all your troubles, just have one go on this and you won't care anymore.
That, yeah.
It's like, wow.
I've lost my daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a daughter once before as well. Just take these and you won't even remember you've got one.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we get that. So we get the kind of the tone, and there's this guy says, this boy says, "Oh, there's a Jedi here, and he helps people." And Obi-Wan's like, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll take you to him."
This cracked me up.
So what do you think about? So at what point? I'll ask you. So, at what point did you realize he was a fake Jedi?
When he was doing the mind trick over the walkie-talkie, that was me going, "Wait a minute."
That was so funny.
Oh, you will do this.
Because he actually said out loud, "I am now doing a Jedi mind trick on you."
Yeah.
like,
I don't remember ever seeing Obi-Wan. "I will mind trick you now to know these are not the droids you're looking for." No, it's not quite how it works.
No. Not how it works at all. It was very, very funny.
As soon as that happened, that's when I messaged Stu. I was like, "This dude is pretending to be a Jedi just to get paid." Wow. Now that's a brave job to have.
Yeah, I was going to say to you, I think perhaps in this particular system or this particular planet, they have not had the Inquisitors there a lot.
No,
because pretending to be a Jedi would seem to be the dumbest thing to do on the galaxy right now. But yeah, he's doing it, and what I find quite interesting though is he is lining his pockets, but he is actually helping people. You know, the child's showing force abilities, so they're trying to smuggle the child away.
Mm-hmm.
He does actually help. He's not, he's doing it under a kind of false thing, and he is taking money for it, but he is actually following through. He's not just like swindling people.
No, this is true.
Which is nice. But it was funny. Also, you then get the confrontation between Ben and him. Ben doesn't reveal himself as a Jedi still, and it's kind of like he almost doesn't want to be one.
He kind of goes to this guy for help, knowing full well that he's not a real Jedi because he's just watched him do all this stuff.
Yeah,
takes the magnets out for his stuff. That was brilliant.
Yeah, that was fun.
But at the same time, he's still like, "I ain't going to tell you I'm a Jedi, though." Like, no. I'm keeping myself as hidden as I can be.
Yeah. No, I agree. He does get some information from him, though, which leads him to this building where Leia's being kept. It's where they're manufacturing the spice as well, so he manages to make his way through the spice lab in a kind of weird sort of scene. He uses that as a distraction to sneak in. And then Ewan McGregor doing his best 007 audition here.
Yeah.
He gets through the doors, these two guys, like you say, and he's like, "Oh, I got lost." And it's a fight scene. Now, I don't know about you, but again, I was kind of like, "Oh, just kick the crap out of him. You're Obi-Wan Kenobi, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You can't be struggling with two goons."
But then you remember, he's 10 years out of practice.
Oh, 10 years out of practice, but still, just force choke one of their asses, no?
Yeah, it was at that point is when I realised that he doesn't use the Force anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was like, he hasn't even like just pushed them back against a wall or something like he used to do to the droids,
No,
there's nothing.
He did nothing. He's not using the Force. He's doing nothing. He's not wielding the Force anymore.
He doesn't even get. We know he's got the sabers on his belt. He doesn't even go for that.
No, and that's the thing. That like all of us, I think I can speak for every Star Wars fan. We want to see that saber come out. We want to see it fire up. We want to see Obi-Wan be Obi-Wan.
Yeah. And
I'm starting to think, because when we meet him in a New Hope in episode 4, he is Obi-Wan still.
Yeah.
He's back. He's walking around. He's doing all these things. He's confident. He's a Jedi again. But here he's broken and battered a bit. And I'm starting to think that this series is actually going to be taking us from his trauma through to him being the Obi-Wan that we see in episode 4.
Yeah, because we're still going to have a hell of a... we've still got to have a decent old time jump.
Yeah.
But then saying that, it's only going to be, 10 years maybe?
Well, I think Luke's supposed to be 18 in A New Hope.
Yeah,
20,
only...
So yeah, it's 10 years again, yeah.
That dude does
it's a fair old time. I mean, I did see the other day, and I'd love to know... When we get to episode 6 and 6 is done, I think at that point we'll have a better idea. But I did see Ewan McGregor say he'd love to do more.
Yes, I saw he sent a couple of interviews where he said, I'm open to discussions and stuff like that. So that could be interesting to see if this is a one and done or not.
This was always supposed to be one and done. This was always supposed to be just a massive thing to the fans for Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I think he's loved it. I think he's really loved it. But he does manage to get away from these guys. He uses the drugs that got slipped in his pocket to basically drug them.
Yes.
And then he finds Leia, who attacks him as he comes in the room. I love that. Again, just absolutely cracked me up. This kid is brilliant. And she's quizzing him like, well, who the hell are you? I've never met you. Like, your dad sent me. How do I know that?
Where's the rest of the army? Come on, it's not just going to be you, is it? No, honestly.
I know.
You're almost expecting to turn around and go, oh, come on, he would have at least sent a decent Jedi. Who the hell are you? Like,
this is the thing. She spots the saber.
Yeah.
She's like, you're a Jedi Knight. And he's like, oh, whatever. Like, don't want to talk, don't want to engage with her at all. He just wants to get her out. And she's just like, you're not a Jedi. If you're a Jedi, make me float. Which, by the way...
Yeah,
a 10-year-old, that is exactly what you'd ask, isn't it?
100%.
Make me float. Come on, make me float. Yeah. That is just all you'd ask. I mean, possibly then like can I play with the lightsaber? Yeah, I loved it. And because the way it's like you said, it's precocious, but right on that perfect line of she could easily step over and be a brat. And she is a little bit of a brat. They're getting some clothes to change into. So they're being hunted by the Inquisitors. The Inquisitors are there. Reva set this up. She is there. But the Grand Inquisitors also arrived. They're there. And again, Reva and the Grand Inquisitor are at odds over this. But as me and you said again, she is right. What she has done, the Grand Inquisitor is saying is too far, but it has brought Obi-Wan Kenobi out of hiding.
Yeah. Literally brought him to them.
Yeah.
Like she said it would.
So they are locking down the spaceport. They're doing everything they can to keep him there in the city, and they are hunting him.
Yeah.
He wants to change some clothes. He goes to like this market stall, picks something out for Leia, and Leia's picking up some gloves. She's like, you don't need the gloves. Fine, and the gloves to the person he's buying.
All she does is just carries on putting you don't need the gloves. She just puts the gloves on. Fine, yeah.
Again,
so relatable.
Me,
yep.
I know every single person who's ever had a toddler or anyone like that age up to 10. You're just like, yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. You don't need that.
It's -3 outside and snowing. You do not need an ice. Get the ice lolly.
No, fine, I'll get you a damn ice lolly, whatever. It's so relatable. Also, possibly my favourite line when he says to her, right, okay, well, I'm a farmer and you're my daughter. Granddaughter, maybe.
Savage.
Like, what? You savage
Absolute
little git.
Savage, that was. Yeah, granddaughter. What was that? Nothing?
Yeah, nothing at all.
So, wow.
What did you... forgetting the running away trope that you hate, okay? Forgetting that, because we've discussed it already. What did you think about her when she did decide that she didn't actually know Obi-Wan? They're all hunting. She kind of put it together really quickly that they have literally taken me to get to you.
Yeah.
So how am I safer with you? I found that because... Again, Leia as a character is very switched on. You know, she goes on to be a great leader, military leader in every sense of the word.
Yep.
So she's not daft. She never has
been. But she clicks that quick,
very fast. I mean, I'm kind of okay because she's very perceptive, and you've seen that in several scenes. She rips her cousin a new one. She kind of picks up on Obi-Wan very quickly, and I'm starting to think how much of that is she is just an incredibly perceptive child, or is it that she is a perceptive child, but also she does have the Force. She does have that ability in her to possibly sense how people are feeling, their insecurities and stuff like that, but she just doesn't realise that's what's happening.
I think you're onto it, because I always wondered, like, throughout all the films, there was always this little part of me of, surely they both were Force sensitive. Like, if your parents are Anakin Skywalker, who is that powerful, surely the genes went to both.
Yeah, big time,
So therefore, I've always had this little wonder. I wonder just how much Leia did have. Could she have had the training if she had had the training and everything else? And we're watching
the
this.
sequels addressed it a bit, but sequels. So yeah, it just kind of I find that interesting. He talked about Luke showing earlier on, and I did wonder if, because he says to her, like, how old are you? She said 10, and he knew how old she was.
Yeah, that was a confusing.
You're just being snarky. You don't ever try and be out snarky to a child. Anyone listening to this, you'll never win because they don't get it. You can land the most perfect level of sarcasm ever in the history of sarcasm, and that child will just take it at face value and call you a poo-poo head.
Yeah.
You can't win. just take it. So he's like, oh, how old are you? She's like, I'm 10. And he's like, and you see his face is like, well, I know you're 10. I was beaten off. Never mind. It's just great. So yeah, they are together. She does do this run. She does leg it away from him. What the scene then is obviously then quite intense of her trying to get out, or him trying to catch up with her whilst being hunted by basically every bounty hunter in this spaceport.
Man, when all the bounty pucks all started going live, and you're like, oh, this place is crawling.
Yeah, this is going to be something.
Again, it was a nice little nod because we hadn't really seen those pucks before The Mandalorian.
No.
Now they're pinging up, and my first thought was, I know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's good. It kind of feels like that was introduced in such a natural way to Star Wars.
Yeah, that now
we're
like,
seeing it. We know what that is. Even with a familiar character like Obi-Wan, it's there. And so he is trying to battle his way whilst trying to get to her. Again, you're like, dude, get the lightsaber out. You're using a blaster. Ugh, you hate blasters.
Yeah.
You've always said about they're so uncivilized. What are you doing? Come on. But no, and he won't, and like she tries, and there's this moment where she's already said, make me float. And she's looking at this gap between the two buildings, and I'm thinking, she's going to try and jump. He's going to have to use the Force to get her to the other side.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. We've had that, make me float, and I'm like, that's what he's going to have to do. But no, she proper nosedives off the building.
She goes for it, and the little legs do not carry.
No, and so he has to use the Force to stop her from dying. Literally grabs her from falling, maybe 2-3 meters, and just gently bumps her to the ground.
Yes.
There was something about that scene, and I want to just give massive props to Ewan McGregor, because he is acting an invisible force. He is acting out that I'm using my mind and body to do stuff like this. Mm-hmm. I thought he not only did that, he also conveyed the emotion of someone who didn't want to ever do that again.
Oh, completely. He has done that out of necessity, no other reason.
Yeah. To me, it suddenly clicked with me. It felt like a soldier. He'd come back from war, put his guns away, and anytime someone was like, oh, something, get your gun, he just, no.
Yeah.
That's gone. That time in my life of being violent, being a soldier, that is done. So for him to dig back up his lightsabers, for him to have to wield the Force again, I found that quite I thought he conveyed that like a real raw, emotional, almost tearful on his face of like, oh, I really didn't want to have to do this, but there's no way I'm letting you die. I mean, of course, that could have been a very interesting, aspect of it, like this splattered Leia everywhere, and him going, oh crap, I'll have to find him another one.
And it turns out the Princess Leia is not actually Princess Leia at all.
No, actually not her at all the whole way. He just went and found some Force-sensitive girl and, okay, you got to do your hair like this. Why? Just do it. Yeah. But like I said, Reva is there and she is hunting him, and the Grand Inquisitor is kind of getting in her way a little bit, and she's closing in on Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's got Leia back with him, and we have a confrontation between the Grand Inquisitor and Reva whilst they are closing in. And I don't know about you, I did not see this coming. Reva kills the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, now, that was one of the things that got me. So, obviously, I look up the stuff on IMDb and stuff and kind of get bits ready for the podcast. It shows the Grand Inquisitor 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So, at no point did I see that coming. And all of a sudden, I'm now like, well, she's definitely just killed him. Like, that's the same wound that killed Qui-Gon. So, you know, he's done.
But isn't the same wound that killed Ben Solo? So, who knows?
Yeah, that is also true. But, like, there's that part where I'm like, damn, okay. So then you start looking at other characters, you're like, well, I don't believe any of those anymore, so that's that gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not see that kind of the killing. I was like, wow, okay, so
no, that shook me. That shook me quite a lot, and it also shook me with the confidence of Reva to do that in this kind of there's no consequence for her. It's almost like she feels like there's no consequence for her, and I'll circle back to that in a minute where I land the second part of my theory I mentioned earlier. But the fake Jedi is helping Obi-Wan now when he finds out via the puck that he was a Jedi, a real one, which to me kind of makes me realise that he's actually being a fake Jedi, not just so much to line his pockets, but as a kind of homage. He obviously was someone who looked up to the Jedi, thought they were something special.
I guess that is he's doing it. I want to say out of respect, but he's not out of respect because he's making money.
It's money, yeah.
But he's doing it as a job. But he's doing it as a job because he admired what they stood for. Maybe,
yeah.
Like he is still, like you said earlier, he is still helping people.
He is, yeah. He is.
His line of "Whoa, you're not using magnets, are you?" That cracked me up. That proper cracked me up.
That was good. I mean, he is killed by Reva. I mean, Reva's ripped through so many people in these 2 episodes.
Already, yeah.
Her body count's impressive. And she does corner Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan sends... So, the fake Jedi's giving him these things for a ship. He gives it to Leia and says, go get there. And Reva's... They're hunting him. They're kind of like in a warehouse. And Reva's walking around, and Reva can sense him. She can sense Obi-Wan is there. And she even says, like, I can sense your fear.
Yeah.
Which, again, is a Jedi, you're not supposed to have fear. Fear leads to hate and suffering in the dark side.
Yeah.
You're Obi-Wan Kenobi. You don't have fear, man. Come on. But she's there. I can sense your fear. And she talks about, I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to take you prisoner. And she says... I'm going to take you to him. He's wanted you for a long time. And all of a sudden you see Ben's face. And she says, I'm going to take you to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And you see his eyes. And she can then sense it. She's like, you didn't know.
Yeah, so pausing there. When she says, I'm going to take you to Darth Vader. I think me and you both had the exact same thought of, oh my God, Obi-Wan obviously knows that's Anakin. Wow, okay, that's like... What a line. Yeah, I'm going to take you to Anakin. And Ben's going to be like, oh my God, yeah, okay, right. Yeah. I don't really probably want to see him because of what happened, but at the same time, oh my God. And then she does that next line of, you don't know, do you? And I think, again, we both had that exact same kind of, oh my God, wait, Ben genuinely thinks he's... Oh, wow, okay.
So I have this here. You ready?
Yep.
He's alive, Obi-Wan. Anakin Skywalker is alive.
Yeah.
And that moment, I think we probably both had the exact same reaction of just, holy, wow, okay. And all of a sudden, everything now starts making a bit more sense. Like, why is Obi-Wan the way he is? Because... he gave up on the Force because Anakin died because of the Force. And all of a sudden you're like, he genuinely didn't realise. All this time he's known that Darth Vader is the bad guy. Well, he didn't know it was Anakin.
No, but I wondered if he knew about Vader at all, because he knew that Anakin had become Vader. So if he'd heard about a Darth Vader walking around killing people, he'd have known that he was still alive. But He didn't, because I think he buried his head in the sand in Tatooine.
Yeah.
He literally cut himself off from everyone. He was literally, walking into town, getting his creature, horse thing, camel,
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Tatooine camel, marching back out to his cave, and that's it. Like, he just didn't want to know. Even when that Jedi came to him, he was like, go away.
Yeah.
Get away from me. He's done that for 10 years. I think in his head, he's dead. That's the end of it. There is no discussion. There is no kind of thing. And the other thing that's quite interesting to me is he's not using the Force. There was that moment where he had his PTSD dream and he asked for Master Qui-Gon, and nothing happened. If you have disconnected yourself from the Force like he had, that's why. I'm going to be interested to know if now, all of a sudden, because he's been able to, you had to use the Force again.
Yep.
And then in the very next scene, he reaches out through the Force to Anakin. He says, Anakin, like that. And you actually then get to see the scene of Anakin Skywalker and a Darth Vader in the tank where he tends to be, open his eyes. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
and
like,
the episode ends.
And as the episode ends, you're kind of there just like, oh my, they actually just reached each other through the Force.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my. Now, I've got to say, Ben Kenobi hasn't aged too badly, considering 10 years in the desert. No. Anakin has not aged well in those 10 years, has he? Bless him.
He got burnt alive, dude.
Yeah, like, skincare routine was not top of his agenda.
No. I think those banter tanks can do so much, but...
Enough.
Back to tanks, yeah.
But yeah. Wow. Yeah, that moment, the Anakin and the eyes opening was... And then the end of the episode, and you're like, No.
Okay, and now I would like to continue binge watching the rest. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I genuinely had that total... I can understand why they've released episodes 1 and 2 together. I think the two of them linked in really nicely. I think the fact that episode 1's the best part of an hour, but episode 2's best part of 40 minutes as well.
I think as well, episode 1, I think was very slow moving as it was setting everything up, and I think they learned the lesson from the Book of Boba.
Yeah, if you put a slow moving episode on for a whole week and that's all anyone's got to talk about, they bitch.
Yeah, the Book of Boba, they weren't big fans of. Like, I know there was a lot of people online that weren't big fans because there wasn't enough action. This isn't what we expect from what's going on. And me and you absolutely lived it. Like, we loved that thing.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
I think this is going to be very much the same. It's not going to be all lightsabers and action. And I mean, there's going to be lightsaber battles. Guarantee it. Yeah. But it's not going to be action-packed 6 episodes.
No.
And
so,
yeah, I think putting the 2 episodes together, I think has just helped kind of bridge that first episode, then wait a week of, I don't know how, was it that great? Was it not? They've now kind of got you with that absolute ending few seconds that you're like, yeah, I'm in. I am all in.
Okay. So I have theory time.
Yes, okay.
So basically, the kind of excitement and the big moment left me of Anakin Skywalker is alive.
Yeah.
It suddenly hit me like a ton of bricks. How in the hell does she know he is Anakin Skywalker? Nobody knows that.
Reva, yeah.
Yeah, the Emperor knows. Obi-Wan, Yoda, Anakin know. That's it. Everyone else who knows is dead.
Yeah.
I don't even think Senator Organa knows. Possibly does. Possibly Organa. But the key, like, that is a secret. That is something. So how in the hell does she know? And so I was kind of racking my brains, and then it hit me. She is hunting Obi-Wan Kenobi like it is personal.
Yeah.
Like, she has a big grudge. And me and you discussed it as a theory that she is that young girl we see in the Order 66 scene, and perhaps she felt let down by the Jedi. Obi-Wan personifies the Jedi at the time, so she hates him. What if actually, in this show, she is Vader's apprentice? What if he has handpicked her and she has all of that anger for Kenobi within her because of him, because of serving her master.
Look what you did to him. Yeah.
Yeah. And just to kind of, if you're being trained in the dark side, you're being trained by Anakin, by Darth Vader, he is going to be like, why are you in the suit? Well, let me tell you a story about this mother
Yeah.
who put me in this thing. I did see a meme yesterday which cracked me up, by the way, which is if you look at a picture of Anakin stood next to Obi-Wan, they're the same height.
Yep.
Vader has got about another foot on him, so obviously when the Emperor upgraded him, he now always has the high ground. Love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah, why does Obi-Wan Kenobi love Mandalorian jetpacks? Portable high ground. Yeah. But anyway, mate, I've said everything I wanted to say from all of my notes. Are there any other bits and pieces you wanted to cover?
No, sir. I think you have covered it all. I'd like to see a bit more Luke. I'd like to see a bit more Luke.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we've had that really great stuff with Leia.
Yeah.
I'd like to then see some interaction with Luke as well. That'd be great.
Yeah, but then at the same time, I'm kind of like, that is what we all expected. So then not to get any at all would kind of be quite a good tease as well, though.
Yeah. I'm kind of like really happy. I'm kind of just like, just give me the next episode.
Yeah.
I have things I'd love to see, but to be honest with you, just do it. Just drop the next episode for me.
Yes.
But yeah, I really enjoyed everything about it. As I said, there was a little bit of anxiety over what it was going to be, but I think they just got it so right.
Oh, yes.
And I can't wait for next week. Episodes drop every Friday. They drop on Disney Plus. We will be talking about it and bringing you the podcast every following Monday. So you'll get an episode Friday night. You'll get a podcast from us on the Monday. So you got the weekend to watch it. And then on your way into work, on the way home from work, or during your lunch break, or whenever you like. A lot of people listen to us when they're at the gym. Don't get that. I'd have to have music on, but hey, each to their own.
What's this gym you speak of?
It's a nice guy, actually. Serves sandwiches.
Nice.
Anyway, massive thank you to everybody for listening. I hope you all really enjoyed the show with us. We'll be back to discuss more Obi-Wan Kenobi next week. You all take care.
I've waited so long to do this. May the Force be with you.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.